Ancient warfare was defined by direct and often brutal confrontations. These conflicts involved organized military forces clashing on battlefields. A primary driver for ancient wars was territorial disputes. Control over vital resources also frequently ignited conflicts. The pursuit of political dominance was another significant cause. Such engagements were fundamental to the geopolitical landscape of ancient civilizations. The ancient Greeks revolutionized infantry warfare with the introduction of the Phalanx formation. This military tactic emphasized collective strength over individual heroism in battle. The Phalanx was a dense, rectangular formation of heavily armed infantry soldiers. Each soldier, typically a hoplite, stood shoulder to shoulder, creating a wall of shields and spears. Success depended on strict discipline and the coordinated movement of the entire unit. This formation allowed Greek armies to achieve significant tactical advantages on the battlefield. The Phalanx was a foundational military formation in ancient warfare, particularly prominent in Greece. It comprised a dense, rectangular mass of soldiers, designed for both offensive and defensive maneuvers. This formation primarily consisted of heavy infantry, providing a formidable front line. Soldiers within the Phalanx were typically armed with long pole weapons, such as spears or pikes. The Phalanx's strength lay in its collective shield wall and coordinated thrust of weapons, making it highly effective. Hoplites were citizen soldiers of ancient Greek city-states, forming the core of their armies. They were equipped with a distinctive shield, known as a hoplon, which gave them their name. Their protective gear included a helmet, breastplate, and greaves for defense. Hoplites fought in a dense rectangular formation called a phalanx, maximizing their collective strength. This formation was crucial to the military tactics and success of ancient Greek warfare. The phalanx was a highly effective ancient Greek military formation. Central to its strength was the hoplon, a large, round shield carried by each soldier. These shields were designed to interlock with those of adjacent soldiers. This interlocking created a continuous, formidable barrier known as a shield wall. The shield wall provided robust protection, making the phalanx nearly impenetrable to frontal assaults. The hoplite, an ancient Greek citizen soldier, was central to the phalanx formation. Their primary offensive weapon was a long, thrusting spear, known as a dory. These spears typically measured between 2 and 3 meters in length. The spear's design allowed hoplites to project force effectively through the shield wall. This weapon was crucial for maintaining formation integrity and engaging the enemy at a distance. The phalanx was an ancient military formation, renowned for its formidable defensive and offensive capabilities. Its effectiveness primarily stemmed from its strategic depth, a key tactical advantage. This depth involved arranging soldiers in multiple, tightly packed ranks, typically 8 or more. The front line bore the initial brunt of enemy attacks and engaged in direct combat. Subsequent ranks provided continuous forward momentum and immense physical pressure to the soldiers ahead. This sustained pressure prevented the front line from collapsing and pushed through enemy formations. Phalanx warfare relied on a dense, rectangular military formation of infantry. Training for this combat style emphasized extreme cohesion among soldiers. Synchronized movement was crucial to maintain the formation's integrity. Soldiers were drilled to move as a single unit, minimizing gaps. This ensured the phalanx remained tight and orderly, even under direct enemy assault. Such discipline was vital for both offensive impact and defensive resilience. Soldiers engaged in rigorous marching drills, a fundamental aspect of ancient military training. These exercises emphasized the importance of synchronized movement and precise formation. Maintaining exact intervals between soldiers was crucial for operational effectiveness. Alignment within the ranks ensured a cohesive and impenetrable front. Such precision was vital for the structural integrity of the phalanx formation. This discipline allowed the phalanx to advance effectively and withstand enemy assaults. Extensive training was conducted to enhance weapon proficiency among soldiers. The primary focus was on mastering the coordinated thrusting of spears. Soldiers practiced bracing techniques essential for maintaining formation integrity. These drills were performed within dense military formations. The objective was to ensure synchronized and effective combat readiness. shield wall drills are fundamental for military units, emphasizing collective defense and formation integrity. Soldiers are trained to maintain a cohesive barrier, interlocking shields to form an impenetrable front. A key aspect of training involves bracing against simulated impacts to prevent breaches in the line. Rapid response is crucial. Soldiers learn to swiftly fill any gaps that emerge under pressure. This continuous practice ensures the shield wall remains an effective defensive and offensive formation. Hoplites underwent rigorous physical conditioning to prepare for the demands of ancient warfare. Training focused on enduring long marches, often carrying heavy armor and equipment. Conditioning also prepared them for sustained combat, crucial for phalanx formations. This intense physical regimen was essential for their effectiveness and survival in battle. Discipline was a fundamental principle in military training. Soldiers were rigorously trained to obey commands instantly and without hesitation. Individual deviation from orders could severely compromise the entire formation's strength. Instant obedience ensured unit cohesion and operational effectiveness in combat scenarios. The phalanx was a formidable ancient military formation, relying on close-knit ranks of soldiers. Its effectiveness stemmed from the collective strength and unity of its participants. Each soldier's success was interdependent on the unwavering support of their comrades. Trust among soldiers was paramount, ensuring the formation remained unbroken under pressure. This cohesion transformed individual fighters into a singular, powerful defensive and offensive unit. The phalanx exemplifies how collective trust and discipline can amplify military strength. Ancient Greek warfare relied heavily on meticulous strategic planning before battles. A key aspect of this planning involved a thorough assessment of the battlefield terrain. Commanders also carefully evaluated the numerical strength of enemy troops. Consideration of potential flanking maneuvers was crucial for gaining tactical advantage. These elements combined to form comprehensive battle strategies in ancient Greece. The phalanx formation was a formidable military unit, strong in frontal assault. Its primary strength lay in its dense, shield-protected front line. However, this formation inherently created vulnerabilities on its flanks and rear. Commanders sought to exploit these weaknesses by executing flanking maneuvers. Outflanking the enemy allowed attacks on less protected sides, disrupting their formation. Terrain advantage is a strategic military concept leveraging natural geographical features. Utilizing elevated positions, such as hills, provides a commanding view and defensive superiority. Narrow passes can restrict enemy movement, creating choke points for concentrated defense. Such terrain can significantly amplify a defensive formation's capabilities, like a phalanx. It channels enemy forces into predictable paths, making them vulnerable to ambushes or focused attacks. Strategic use of terrain can alter the balance of power, even against numerically superior forces. The phalanx was a formidable ancient military formation, requiring precise deployment for maximum effectiveness. Its strength lay in tightly packed ranks of soldiers, typically armed with spears and shields. Strategic positioning was crucial to exploit the formation's inherent advantages and enemy weaknesses. A common tactic involved placing the strongest, most experienced units on the right flank. This exploited the shield arm advantage, as each soldier's shield protected the man to their left. This deployment created a strong offensive and defensive front, pushing into the enemy's weaker left flank. Ancient Greek armies were primarily composed of infantry, forming the core of their military strength. However, they sometimes integrated cavalry units to enhance tactical flexibility. Cavalry was primarily used to protect the flanks of the main infantry formation during engagements. They also played a crucial role in pursuing and routing a broken enemy after a battle. Before engaging in battle, ancient societies commonly performed various rituals and sacrifices. These practices were deeply ingrained in cultural and religious beliefs. A primary objective was to secure divine favor and blessings for the impending conflict. Such ceremonies also served to significantly boost the morale and cohesion of the troops. The belief in supernatural aid provided psychological strength and confidence to the warriors. Ancient battles frequently commenced with a direct charge against the opposing forces. The phalanx, a dense infantry formation, was a common tactical unit in these engagements. Phalanxes advanced with a steady, disciplined pace, maintaining their formation. The primary objective of this advance was to achieve a forceful collision with the enemy line. This initial impact was crucial for disrupting enemy formations and gaining an advantage. The othismos was a critical phase in ancient Greek phalanx combat. It involved the physical push between two opposing phalanxes. This direct confrontation was a brutal test of collective strength. It also demanded immense endurance from every soldier. The side that maintained cohesion and pushed harder often gained the advantage. In ancient warfare, the phalanx was a formidable military formation, relying on cohesion and discipline. Soldiers stood shoulder to shoulder, creating an impenetrable wall of shields and spears. The strength of the phalanx lay in its collective integrity, moving as a single, unified entity. Victory often hinged on the ability to maintain this tight formation under enemy assault. When a phalanx formation broke, individual soldiers became exposed and vulnerable. This breach typically led to a rout, as the disciplined unit dissolved into chaos and defeat. In military strategy, a broken enemy formation signals a critical turning point in battle. The victorious army initiates pursuit to capitalize on the enemy's disarray. This pursuit aims to inflict maximum casualties on the retreating forces. The objective is to prevent enemy regrouping and ensure a decisive victory. Strategic encirclement is a military tactic designed to isolate and overcome an enemy force. This maneuver involves positioning friendly units around the enemy's flanks and rear. The primary objective is to cut off all potential escape routes and lines of supply. By closing the circle, the enemy becomes trapped within a confined area. This pressure often compels the enemy to surrender due to lack of resources or escape. Alternatively, it can lead to the complete annihilation of the encircled forces. Psychological warfare involves tactics designed to demoralize and manipulate opponents. One common tactic is the use of intimidation to instill fear and reduce fighting spirit. War cries, for instance, were employed to create an overwhelming and terrifying presence. Displaying captured enemy standards served as a powerful visual symbol of dominance and defeat. These actions collectively aimed to undermine the enemy's morale and will to resist. Naval warfare was a critical component of ancient conflicts, extending beyond land-based battles. It played a particularly significant role in historical events such as the Peloponnesian War. Key vessels like triremes were central to naval strategies, enabling rapid movement and combat at sea. These seaborne invasions and engagements profoundly influenced the outcomes of ancient wars. Triremes were ancient warships, pivotal to naval warfare in the Mediterranean. These vessels were designed for speed and maneuverability, crucial for combat. A primary tactic involved ramming enemy ships with a bronze-clad bow. Successful ramming aimed to disable or sink the opposing vessel instantly. Boarding actions were also common, where Marines engaged in hand-to-hand combat. Siege warfare was a military strategy employed to overcome fortified cities and strongholds. It involved prolonged assaults and blockades to breach enemy defenses. Specialized siege engines were crucial for these operations. Battering rams were used to smash through gates and walls. Siege towers allowed attackers to scale walls and engage defenders directly. Defensive strategies in medieval times focused on creating formidable barriers against invaders. A primary component of these defenses was the construction of robust city walls. These walls were often supplemented by strategically placed towers, providing vantage points for defense. Fortified gates served as controlled entry and exit points, crucial for city security. This integrated design aimed to withstand prolonged sieges and protect inhabitants. Sieges were a historical military tactic used to isolate and capture fortified locations. A primary objective of prolonged sieges was to deplete the besieged city's resources. This strategy aimed to create conditions of scarcity within the city walls. Depletion of essential supplies, such as food and water, was a key focus. Ultimately, resource depletion was intended to force the city's surrender through starvation or thirst. Victory in ancient warfare carried immediate and profound consequences for the defeated. A primary outcome was the subjugation of the enemy army, leading to their capture or enslavement. The defeated city often faced destruction, its structures razed and its population displaced. This destruction served as a clear demonstration of the victor's power and dominance. The spoils of war, including resources and territory, were seized by the victorious forces. victors in conflicts often acquired new territories. This expansion directly led to an increase in their influence. Gaining new lands also augmented their resource base significantly. Territorial control was a primary outcome and benefit of victory. War spoils refer to valuable goods, resources, or property seized during or after a conflict. These spoils typically include items such as weapons, armor, precious metals, and other valuable commodities. The acquisition of spoils was a common practice in historical warfare, serving various purposes. Spoils were often distributed among victorious soldiers as a form of reward or compensation. Additionally, a portion of the seized goods would be allocated to the state or ruling authority. Historically, military defeat often led to severe consequences for the vanquished population. A common outcome for those defeated was forced enslavement. This practice provided a substantial labor force for the victorious power. Enslaved individuals were compelled to work, contributing to the victor's economic prosperity. Thus, enslavement served as a significant source of revenue and resources for the conquering entity. Conquered cities or states faced the imposition of tributes or taxes by the victorious power. This practice was a common historical strategy following military conquest. Tributes served as a direct financial obligation from the defeated to the victor. The primary purpose was to ensure continued economic benefit for the conquering entity. These payments could include resources, goods, or monetary contributions. Such impositions solidified the dominance and power of the victorious state. Military victories were crucial in establishing political dominance. These triumphs led to the consolidation of power. Such victories often resulted in hegemony over rival city-states. They also extended control over entire regions, solidifying political authority. Throughout history, victorious powers often exerted significant influence over conquered populations. This influence frequently extended to the imposition of their own cultural norms. Language, as a fundamental aspect of culture, was commonly introduced or enforced. The victors also established their political systems, replacing or altering existing governance structures. This process aimed to integrate the conquered into the dominant society's framework. Such imposition often led to profound and lasting changes in the conquered territories. A successful military campaign significantly elevates the standing of a city-state. Victory in conflict enhances the prestige of the victorious entity. It also bolsters the reputation of its leaders and governing bodies. Such triumphs project an image of strength, competence, and strategic prowess. This increased prestige can lead to greater influence and respect among other states. Victories were frequently commemorated through various public displays and structures. One common method was the erection of grand monuments. These monuments served as enduring symbols of triumph and achievement. Trophies were also created to signify successful outcomes. Public celebrations, including festivals and parades, marked significant victories. Such commemorations reinforced civic pride and collective identity within communities. Conquered territories often provided significant wealth and resources to the victorious power. This influx of new assets could include precious metals, raw materials, and agricultural products. Such acquisitions directly fueled periods of economic prosperity for the conquering nation. This historical pattern demonstrates a direct link between territorial expansion and economic growth. Social stratification refers to a society's categorization of its people into socioeconomic strata based on factors like wealth. Conflict, such as warfare, can significantly impact existing social hierarchies within a community. Victory in conflict often leads to a redistribution of power and status among societal groups. Successful warriors, for instance, frequently gain elevated social standing and influence. This can reinforce pre-existing social structures, solidifying the positions of dominant groups. Alternatively, conflict outcomes may create entirely new social hierarchies, altering the societal landscape. Military success often served as a catalyst for the formation of new alliances among city-states. Victorious city-states demonstrated strength, making them attractive partners or formidable adversaries. Other city-states would seek alliances, primarily for strategic protection against rivals. These alliances offered a shield, deterring potential aggressors through collective defense. Additionally, city-states joined alliances to share in the spoils of future military conflicts. This pursuit of shared gains further solidified the bonds between allied entities. Continuous warfare has historically served as a primary catalyst for military innovation. This persistent conflict environment spurred significant advancements in weaponry development. It also led to substantial improvements in protective armor technologies. Furthermore, ongoing warfare drove the evolution and refinement of tactical approaches and strategies. The Phalanx formation was instrumental in reinforcing the citizen-soldier ideal in ancient societies. This ideal emphasized that civic duty inherently included military service. Citizens were expected to contribute to the defense of their polis, or city-state. Their participation in military service was a fundamental aspect of their civic responsibility. Military outcomes historically exerted a profound influence on political structures and governance. Successful military campaigns often elevated generals to positions of significant power and authority. These victorious commanders frequently gained considerable influence within their respective city-states. Their military achievements directly shaped the political landscape and leadership dynamics. Thus, military success was a critical determinant of political power and governmental control. A decisive victory in conflict often leads to a period of relative stability within a region. This stability is typically achieved by one party gaining overwhelming dominance over others. The immediate aftermath can see a reduction in active hostilities and widespread conflict. However, this stability frequently comes at a significant cost to the defeated party or parties. The vanquished may face political subjugation, economic exploitation, or social marginalization. Thus, apparent stability can mask underlying grievances that may resurface in the long term. Ancient historians meticulously documented significant events, including warfare. These records provide critical insights into historical battles and their outcomes. They detail the military strategies employed by various civilizations. Furthermore, these accounts illuminate the profound consequences of armed conflicts. Such historical documents are invaluable for understanding past warfare and its impact. The Phalanx was a foundational military formation originating in ancient Greece. Its disciplined, close-order infantry tactics proved highly effective in ancient warfare. The Phalanx's influence extended significantly beyond its Greek origins. It profoundly impacted military formations and tactics in subsequent empires. Notable examples include the armies of Macedon and the Roman Republic. The evolution of warfare is marked by foundational concepts that shaped military strategy. One such concept is disciplined infantry, crucial for maintaining formation and order in battle. Coordinated action among military units also proved vital for effective combat. The Phalanx, an ancient military formation, exemplifies these principles of discipline and coordination. Its success demonstrated the power of a unified, organized fighting force. These foundational concepts continue to influence modern military tactics and organization.